let me just skip to this, which is being in the financial and in the subsistence level. This is a dummy variable. Are you poor or not? Are you in the agricultural subsistence level or not? So the variable, the effect is a sort of change in the probability. If you are part of the financial system, how it modifies the probability that you stay there for a while. So good news, the coefficients are negative, which is good. If you are part of the financial system, the probability that you stay in a subsistence level of income reduces by 2%, 10%, and this is a very interesting fact, which addresses the heterogeneity. It's not the same reducing the probability of being poor for members than for non-members. If you split that and take that into account, for instance, just being part of the financial system reduce the probability of being in the subsistence level in 10% for people who are not in the financial system, while this effect is just 1.5 for people who are in the financial system. Why this heterogeneity? Again, because obviously the cost and benefits from being outside the market are different. So we have a lot of results and a lot of exposition, but I don't want to bore you. So I just selected some specific outcomes. This list is all the specific policies related to membership that the branch has. And it includes how much does it cost to be part of the financial system? How much is the quota per year for having a loan? How much do you need to pay, etc., etc., etc. So there are specific questions that address all the policies related to membership. What did we do? What we do was to split those questions and analyze the specific policies that have significant effect and that has theoretical meaning. Then, with these two instruments, which is the linear and the probit, we create the membership and then we introduce the membership into second round equations and see if the second round equations have any sense, right? So modifications in policies affect membership and membership affect the outcomes. It's like the indirect effect I told you. What we are expecting is that the coefficient here and here are significant. That's what we are looking for. So for these specific cases, these policies, for instance, how much is the social payment for our commission for having a saving account, has some effects on the participation, and that has some effects on wealth, which is more or less the same than before and significant. So that's the way we address this question. It's not very easy, it's not that easy. Why? Because the variation in policies, how can I measure that? Well, we don't have that many surveys, and that's like a caveat. We only have 80-something surveys. So what we are looking for is policies that actually are different across the branches. Because if all the branches do one thing, then there is no variation in the policy. What we want to address is, what if some branches do different, and what are the effects of this difference in branches? So from all the survey, we selected some specific questions that show to be different across branches to see if they are effective or not. For instance, savings policy seems to have no effect at all in changing membership. Well, that's an interesting finding. Credit policies indeed have had some effect. In particular, what is the interest rate? If it's higher, negative effect on participation. Who determines the interest rate? If the interest rate is determined locally, for instance, it increases the probability of being in the financial system and then affects the outcome in positive way. So what do we mean by that? That sometimes maybe the contract that creates and is decentralized in the branch is more important than the contract itself. So the capacity of the branch manager to create credit and adjust the interest rate could play a role in determining who gets credit or not, which is interesting by itself. Then collateral, which is one of the strongest results. If you require people to have a collateral for having a credit, reduce by 12 or 15% the probability of getting credit. Right? Why? Because people have no collateral. People have no collateral, they don't have wealth enough because they are obviously in the poor communities. And if you are require them to have a collateral, then there's like a natural contradiction, you cannot get credit. So what is the message from here? If you reduce the collateral requirement, then you will increase the probability of being in the financial system, and then you will have a positive effect in the second round outcomes. Services. Well, this is obviously too small, but the main message here, if you provide some advice on how to manage a firm, and if the firm is has rents or not, that's the main question. Do the firm will work? And that has to do with the Greenwood-Jovanovic model. As Victor is going to explain next week, well, in 2 weeks, sorry, the Greenwood-Jovanovic model has to do with that. If you pay a cost for reading the information of your model, and the financial system main role is providing you know what, you are going to pay this fixed cost. And I read your project and I say, well, the return of this project is that much. Go for it or not. It's your decision. What the household do? Well, if this is my project, I compare against not doing anything at all. And if it's worth it, then I go for it. Well, that kind of reading information have some significant and positive effects on being in the financial system. Obviously, this is an additional service that you value and you want to have.